Please welcome Congressman Louie Gohmert.
Thank you. Back in January of 2008, President George W. Bush, who I like very much, he is a much smarter guy than people gave him credit for and give him credit for, very witty, a real delight to talk to. He was pushing through a $160 billion stimulus bill because the economy was struggling. So he was accepting really socialist ideas. Hey, let's throw money out there and maybe everything gets better. And what was even worse, this huge number, $160 billion, contained $40 billion of it, a fourth of it, was going as rebates to people that didn't pay any income tax. So he announced that right before he did the State of the Union address. He's coming down the aisle at the State of the Union. He gets to me, and I knew the camera was picking us up, but I didn't know there was a microphone, but apparently it picked me up saying, "Hey, Mr. President, how do you give a rebate to people that didn't put any bait in?" You know? And the truth is, it's not a rebate. It's direct welfare. Call it what it is. So since this president, or my president at that point, George W. Bush, was doing the wrong thing, I said, this is totally the wrong thing. It's going to encourage more of this kind of stuff in the future. It's not standing on our ideals. If we will have a little less government, allow more entrepreneurism, cut taxes a little bit, we'll see the place explode. It has always worked. And instead, we had the stimulus bill in January. And then come September, I'm telling you, I've never been more depressed in Congress than I was the weekend. I mean, I was just praying about, Lord, I mean, is there any use in this continuing? Because my leadership talked Republicans into gathering strong enough to support something called TARP. And I stood up in our conference, and I used the S word because I said to our conference, at our member mic, I said, folks, when the federal government pays or buys part of a business, it's called socialism. And we're supposed to protect this place from that, not buy into it. This is so wrong. And I went through and was explaining, this is going to create more problems. This is not what you do. And there are 300 economists that have proposed that we don't have to have the government pay $700 billion to one moron to go out there and just give it out to his friends. You don't have to do that. Actually, they're proposing, since there's more than $700 billion of American money, American individuals and companies that have in foreign banks, that if we just pass a law, and they're not going to bring it into the United States because some of them have paid 70, 75% tax where the money is. They bring it into the U.S., they'll pay another 40, 50% tax. They're not going to do that. But if we pass a law that says, hey, American individuals or companies, you bring money you have in foreign banks over here, and you invested in Wall Street, AIG, mortgage-backed securities, GM, whatever we wanted to do. It's private money coming in and not the government buying it. And I'm telling you, I had three very dear friends stand up to me and stand up after me in conference and said, I can't believe Louie would call this socialism. Three different really good friends, and they're still good friends. And they've never asked forgiveness, but I was right and they were wrong. And it broke my heart. I'm serious. I mean, I was just devastated because I'm promising you right now, and I called it before it happened, if we do this, it's going to open the door to more mischief than we'll be able to put away in a decade. And that's what happened. If we had not had a $700 billion TARP, there would never have been a $900 billion stimulus, even with President Obama. He could never have gotten away with that. He could never have gotten away with trillion-dollar deficits if we hadn't, with the Republican administration, passed a $700 billion bailout for Wall Street. And by the way, for those of you that bought into the idea the fat cats on Wall Street, they're probably all Republican, 4 out of 5 are Democrats. And they must have some kind of nod and grin deal with the president. He calls them fat cats, makes fun of them, and then he helps them make more money than they've ever made in their lives. It's a real nice deal the way it's worked out. But very quickly, let me tell you this and why I don't give up faith. I am a Christian. I don't try to force that on anybody else, but it's part of who I am. And you can go back to what Joseph told his brothers. You meant it for evil, but God has used it for good. And over, you know, if you will just have faith and be faithful and be consistent, you know, you're going to find out, wow, somebody may have intended this for evil, but aren't I blessed as a result of what happened? That's one very important lesson. Very quickly, another point I learned when I was on the junior varsity as quarterback, every Thursday we would go up and scrimmage the varsity. And we had a nose tackle that was all district, big mean guy, he loved to hit people. And he really intimidated the center. And the snap count for this particular play was the second hut. You call some plays, and then you say hut, and if it's the first hut, you snap the second. Well, it was on the second hut. Now, on a pass play, some of you that play football, you know, the lineman's first move on a pass play after the ball snaps, he takes one step back with each foot to block. Well, Gary was a good guy, but he had trouble remembering the snap count, and it was on 2, and he snapped on 1. I'm not ready to back up to throw a pass, and he backs up. And with those big, long steel cleats, he stomped right on my big toenail of my right toe. And I yanked my foot out from under his, and then Johnny Rex hit him, and he stomped on the same toe again. And then I just backed up, but I couldn't move much, and he stomped on it again. And after wind sprints, we went in. He had stomped my toenail off, and it hurt like crazy. A very valuable lesson. Your mothers have told, somebody has told you this. If you're around somebody that's doing the wrong thing, get away from them. You're going to get hurt. As a judge, sending people to prison, I can't tell you how many times people came in and said, Judge, I wish I'd listened to my mother. She said, stay away from those people. They're not doing right. And I didn't, and now I'm going to prison. Yeah? So when you're around people that aren't doing right, get away from them. That's it. And number 3, never miss an opportunity to do something good for others. And you will find that you are blessed in the end. Don't give up the faith. Thank y'all for letting me be with you. Thank you.